Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Sydney's Manga Log, and this is going to be what I've read for July. Well, what I read technically in August of 2025, but I think the video is going to be titled September 2025. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with Shonen Sunday with Sumiki Ogami's Not So Ordinary Life. This is Volume 1 by Miyurashita. This is a series about a beast girl living in a world where there's some people who are part beast, part human, and there are some humans. The school she's going to is a mostly beast person's. I think it's mostly human school, actually. Um, I don't remember. I thought this was. I might be getting it confused with the different series. Regardless, no, I think it's mostly human school. She's part wolf, part human, so she has a lot of attention on her, and it's kind of a exploration of her life, kind of a slice of life comedy take on it, and it's talk showing his perspective on her, their budding relationship, budding romance, budding friendship. It's just a really cute slice of life, and I really did enjoy this first volume. Next up, we've got One Piece Volume 108, 109, Egghead. This volume, we are beginning continuing major fights in Egghead. We've had like 3 volumes of serious fights so far. Um, at this point, they're just trying to get the hell out of Egghead while forces are invading. Everybody's trying to stop them because they're learning these secrets they really shouldn't be learning about the world, and they're trying to make sure they don't take Vegapunk with them. So they're continuing their escape. At this point, there's like spoilers, but the um the highest pillar of the government, I don't remember what they're called, are multiples of them are being summoned into this area. So there's a lot of stakes for them trying to escape. Everybody's trying to stop it. It's very intense. But yeah, love One Piece. Next up, we've got Dark Gathering Volume 14, and I believe we are beginning the fight against this specific entity they're trying to destroy in this volume. After volumes of planning, of setting up every single graduate and all of the spirits, we have the actual fight against the entity. So things are going on with that so far. I don't want to spoil what happens in it, but of course, Dark Gathering's a really fun read for supernatural enjoyers. Next up, we've got Blue Box Volume 16, and I believe we've got continuing tournaments in this volume. Let's see. Yes, because we've got Taiki's tournament going on, and then yeah, I think this is pretty much just focusing on Taiki's nationals. I don't think it's nationals. I don't know. This is I think it's like in the area of the prefecture, but if he gets in the top 2 or top 3, I think he gets a spot in nationals, so that's what he's going for. So this volume is more focused on the sports than the romance, but I did really enjoy this volume. That's all my Shonen Jump and Shonen Sunday. There was only one Shonen Sunday, and that was Sumiki Ogami. Next up, we've got Tamon's B-Side, Volume 8 by Yuki Shiwasu. Let's see. I don't remember specifics about what happened in this volume. Um, oh yes, we've got character growth for where character. We learn more about the character for Rintaro Kai, which is or Kai Rintaro, who's one of the idols in the idol group. I believe he's this person on the cover right here. Learning more about his home life, how he's basically just a rich boy, and he's different than how, of course, like all the idols in this group, different than how he puts himself out there. But yeah, super enjoy Timon's V side, very cute, and I like the relationships among all of the group members alongside the relationship with the main character. And also, we are really starting to press on potentially getting the relationship developed between the main character and her bias, but we'll have to see how that goes. Now we're a continuous shoujo beat with Red River volumes 10 through 12. A lot happened in this volume because, of course, it's 3 volumes in one. Um, Let me actually quickly flip through so I don't. I believe in this volume we had somebody pretending to be the princess, but that actually wasn't the princess. We've got the princess. Yeah, the princess being falsely accused of something, escaping to a different country, and all. It's too much stuff to talk about without just giving a full summary of all 3 volumes. But a lot of political intrigue, as it usually is in these volumes. Red River is a great read. I would definitely recommend it, even if you don't find yourself enjoying shoujo romance that much, or just romance that much in general. It's got a lot of fun historical plot to it, or historical political plot to it. So I would definitely enjoy this to a lot of people, or recommend this to a lot of people. Next, we've got Otaku Vampires Love Bite Volume 4, and I do love this series, but that is a interesting perspective on the neck. His neck looks just a little bit too long in this volume. Let me get a refresher about what happened in this volume. Um, I actually, even reading the summary, don't really remember too much about this volume. Let's see. I think it was building a lot of the relationship between the main character and the male lead in this volume. Um, had some intrigue about the potential vampire the potential vampire that we want to know about why he's stronger than her. But also, we have in this volume plot to get her to go back home, and he ended up getting kidnapped. That's part of that plot. So that was fun. But I do really still enjoy Timon's B-side. Next, we've got My Special One, Volume 10 by Momoki Koda. This volume starts off kind of weird. It starts off with like I think it's a 1 chapter. Is it 1 chapter or 2 chapters? Basically just like a story about basically the main character as if she was Cinderella and as if he was Prince Charming. It's a weird little aside for the first chapter. The rest of the volume, what happened in the rest of the volume? Okay, so it was just talking about. Okay, it was. I think the first chapter was the main couple, and then the rest of it was talking about the side couple and how they met in their childhood and how she got to become so obsessed with him as an idol and wanted to become like him. Um, I don't really like My Special One too much, honestly. Next up's one that I do really enjoy, which is my only Kodansha standard size, which is Thunder 3 Volume 5. We've got most of the fight finishing up with the aliens in this arc and potentially somebody dying. I don't really know. I kind of doubt these characters could die, the specific characters that might have died, or a specific character that might have died. But we've got the fight finishing up, and then one of the main characters realizing where his sister is, that his sister's on the airship, and basically wreaking havoc on the airship. It's a really fun read, and I would definitely recommend it to most people. Next, we've got the VizSig section with the final volume of Tokyo Alien Bros, Volume 3. My opinions shift a little bit on this series. I think it was an enjoyable time overall. We have, in this volume, one of the characters ends up deciding to go back to their home planet after finding out that Earth isn't really somewhere that their species wants to stay in. So he ends up going back to their home planet. The other one stays behind. He misses him, of course. And I don't want to spoil the whole volume, but it's a nice way to wrap up all of their character arcs, and it's a decent read. I wouldn't really go out of my way to recommend it, but I think I enjoyed it overall. Next, we've got another series that I really wish more people would talk about, which is Steel of the Celestial Shadows, Volume 7. This volume, we had a lot of fighting between the main samurai character and the people who took away his wife. Essentially, most of this volume is a battle, and I can't really explain that too much, aside from saying that there's a battle and that the main character ends up gaining more of a understanding and development of the control over his power. But the art's great in this series, and the story's interesting. The power system's cool. definitely recommend this to a lot of people, especially if you like action. Next up, we've got another Viz Sig. Oh, I almost dropped a bunch of things. Let me fix that really quickly. All right. Next, we've got My Name is Shingo by Kazuo Umez, Rest in Peace, Volume 5. This volume we've got, let's see, I think we've got most of... Yeah, that's right. The machine essentially develops consciousness fully in this volume and starts to play a much more active role in the journey of the main female character. And I don't want to spoil it, but it is a very, very good horror manga. And I keep saying I would recommend it, but I don't read a lot of things I don't recommend. But this is a very good horror manga. And if you've heard Kazuo Umez, you probably would know that this is you would probably know that he's a great mangaka. And that most of his series are worth reading. But yes, I would 100% recommend this to horror fans. Next up, we've got Insomniacs After School, Volume 10, and we are close to the end of this series. I think this is mostly focusing on the relationship between the two of them, trying to spend Christmas together, reading in the new year, typical stuff for the romance genre. A lot of just vignettes happening to establish the relationship. Just a decent standard volume. Next up, we've got Volume 5 of Fool Night by Kasumi Yasuda. Let's see. Okay, I think in this volume we actually do have some fracturing happening in the thoughts of the employees of Transflora because of all the mass protests, because people are pissed about Ivy killing so many people, and Transflora is essentially taking the blame for it while they try and figure out what the actual cause of it was to try and prove that they weren't involved. So a lot of the employees are rightfully unsure about their role in this and if they are really working for a company they want to be working for, if they're in the ethical right or the ethical wrong. That's a lot of the focus for this volume. A lot of discussions about that. Then we also do have some exploration of Ivy's background in towards the end of this volume as they find out more about the area that Ivy was, I think, born in or lived in, the pauper town, where people would essentially transflorate in order to get money for the town so the town could support everybody inside of the town. Do really enjoy Fool Night. Then we've got Fist of the North Star, Volume 17. This is the second to last volume of Fist of the North Star. I don't really have too many strong opinions about this latest volume. I mean, there was a nice vignette story about this kingdom with 3 sons, trying to find out who's going to rule it, trying to get to the process, learning about the kingdom. It's a very contained one-off story in the Fist of the North Star universe in this volume, I would say. Because at this point, we've already kind of fully established... I almost said Kenshiro. That's not his name, is it? Okay, it is Kenshiro. I thought I was getting confused with Berserk. We already have Kenshiro's character fully established at this point, so we already know what he's going to do. It's mostly just exploring this kingdom and seeing, I guess, how everybody else responds to the plights of this kingdom. But I did enjoy the story told in this volume, even if it wasn't kind of continuing the Fist of the North Star series, more so than just kind of being a separate thing that happened in Kenshiro's life. But it was enjoyable. Then we got The Climber Volume 2. Some sad stuff happens in this volume. A lot of climbing in the rock climbing manga. Big surprise, right? Basically, the main character is trying to scale. He learns about this mountain that's never been fully scaled before, up this certain path. So he's trying to chart the way, trying to learn how to get there. He's offered to go on this giant expedition with a bunch of people where he'd be fully funded and everything, but because of who he is, he wants to do it completely on his own with no ropes, nothing to hold him, nothing to stop him if he falls. And of course, other people are trying to get involved so he doesn't die. A lot of drama in this volume, a lot of intense climbing and learning more about the main characters, not goals, but his motivations. That's the last Viz Sig for the month. Next, I'm going to get into Seven Seas with the Titan's Bride Volume 7. We had a bit of a vignette in this volume talking about one of the characters who was previously married to the king. I think dating or married, I'm not entirely sure. And of course, continuing and about to finish up the plot about the egg hatching or trying to hatch the egg in order to prove that the main character is worthy of being a king or being the bride of the king. I do enjoy Titan's Bride. I think the plot's not bad. Of course, people read it. People do read it for the smut. Then we've got SHWD, Special Hazardous Waste Disposal, and this is the all-in-one omnibus. This is volumes 1 to 3. Previously, Seven Seas released volume 1 and then never released the rest of the series, so now they released it in this big omnibus format. And I did really enjoy this series. There was a mystery about what the SHWD was, what they're doing, why they're doing it, and we have the relationship establishing and growing between the two main characters before some stuff happens near the end that kind of throws a wrench into that and explains things that are going on even better. I think this is a really well told Yuri story for only a 3-volume series. And if you aren't into like the smutty Yuri or the smutty yaoi, the smutty side of manga, this is a really great pick because there's no intimate sex scenes in this volume. It's 15 plus, and that does seem like a rarity nowadays for Yuri series. It might be for BL as well. I will say a lot of the BL that I see licenses stuff that's 18 plus. I guess people really just do like their smut. But I did really enjoy SHWD, and I'd recommend it. It's only 3 volumes. You really wouldn't be going into that much of a commitment. So next we've got last game, Punch Drunk Love Volume 3. We finally have the relationship set in stone between the two of them, but we still have some miscommunication, some misunderstandings between them as partners, adding to the comedy, that sort of stuff. He gets to meet his father and tell his father off. I think that's this series, right? Let me make sure I'm not getting my series mixed up because I remember him meeting a father and telling a father off. I hope I'm not just mixing that up with a completely different series. Yes. Yeah, we do have that going on in this volume, kind of making the male secondary lead have even more intense feeling for the male lead, who's just not afraid to be his authentically weird self, even though he is trying to change him to kind of fit his ideal partner better. It's a decent series. Next up, we've got My Stepmothers and Stepsisters Aren't Wicked by Utsuchi, Volume 6. We've got school games happening in this volume, continuing the kind of transition from this series into being mostly in a school setting. Some relationships going on, not relationships, exploration of some relationships between the classmates, mostly just going on with the school festival and the games and the festival. It's an enjoyable series. Not my favorite, but it's still a good read regardless. Then we've got the final volume of My Sister Took My Fiancé and Now I'm Being Courted by a Beastly Prince, Volume 4 by Kiduki Hoshikawa, Yu Sakurai, and Rin Hidao. What happened in this volume? I will say it... Yeah, of course, the plot point where he essentially is just getting the lion ear, so it makes it impossible to hide who he really is. Somebody else finds out about it, and they have to kind of try and make sure that a secret doesn't get out. They're just wrapping up a lot of the plot in this volume. It unfortunately did seem a bit rushed for a conclusion because I don't know how well this adapted the light novel. I feel like it was definitely rushed. I enjoyed the premise, the characters, the story, that sort of stuff, but this volume is just kind of not my favorite, honestly. Next up, we've got Last Game Volume 9, and I will be honest, I also don't remember what happened in this volume. Trip to Yanagi's Ryokan. I don't remember which one's Yonagi. So they do finally have, both of them finally have figured out their feelings for each other and end up taking a trip to a ryokan together with alongside a lot of their classmates. And they're starting to slowly really get an idea of get communicating their feelings to each other. They still haven't done it yet by the end of this volume, like formed their relationship. But yeah, um, that's pretty much it for this volume. All right. Next up, we've got Don't Call It Mystery, volumes 13 to 14. What mystery was handled in this volume? Oh, that's some of my fur that came off. Right, we are continuing the mystery of everybody jumping off the bridge and one person dying from that. We get to learn about a potential serial killer case going on, learn about why it happened, how many people are involved, and of course find out who was the main culprit of the case. Since this is a mystery, I don't want to go into a lot of the details on it. Yet again, it was a very enjoyable mystery. Pretty much all of the ones from Tamura so far have been. I think we had some minor tie-in to the astrological signs that we've seen as a recurring theme throughout the series. I don't remember the specifics of it, but it was, of course, a really good read, as all this series has been so far. And Last Seven Seas is very lighthearted. It is yet another Pandania release of Cats with Jobs, and this is volume 1. Not really much to say about this series. It is cats that have jobs. And not all of these are even jobs. I think some of them are just like really weird. I don't want to scroll through the whole thing here. Yeah, like some of these aren't even like job things. This one's like, oh yeah, this is New Year's. This is somebody at a cinema. This is a Phantom Thief. This is VTuber is technically a job. I don't know how many jobs they're going to go through with and how long they can make this series unless they just keep repeating stuff about the jobs. Again, it's cute. It's a great series if you like cats. And it does come with the cat sticker sheet, which I have not touched. So, extra bonus for cat lovers out there. Next up, we've got the standard size 7 Cs. Starting with Wolf's Daughter, A Werewolf's Tale by Yuki Kodama, Volume 1. This is a series about a girl who finds out that she is part wolf, and it ends up kind of being a coming of age about her learning her origin, learning more about herself, why she's different than everybody else, learning traits about herself and that sort of thing. It's kind of a mild drama. I don't think it really has much comedy to it, more just like a slice of life drama series so far. It's pretty enjoyable. I like it. It's a more serious take on this sort of genre. Then we've got Royal Tailor, Clothier to the Crown, Volume 4 by Nakasane Kawaki. We are continuing to meet some of the king's wives as she goes around trying to figure out if there's any of the king's wives that potentially could be trying to assassinate him. And this wife is Hana. That's Hana is her. This wife is Tien, pictured on the back, who is a ogre, I think. Is she an ogre? Okay, I don't remember what her race is, but basically a very strong woman who loves to fight, and we're essentially having her meet Tien and trying to help Tien with her struggles that she's going with. trying to help Tien kind of get to a better understanding of who she is and her relationship with the king. It's a good series about, or a good volume about repairing the relationship and repairing Tien's opinion about herself and how she presents. Of course, there also is some tailoring in this volume. Don't want to spoil what goes on and what gets tailored, but I still really, really enjoy Royal Tailor, and I'm sad to hear that it's ending in, like, I think 1 or 2 more volumes. Next up, we've got Otaku Elf Volume 9. Now, as to what happens in this volume, Ghost Stories. Zombie Cafe stuff was really stupid at the end. But Otaku Elf, there's a lot of stuff that happens, but not a lot of like actual progression in a story or a plot or anything. It's just very slice of life. They're just doing things, they're existing. It's fun and I like it. And there's also a lot of historical information they put in here because the main elf herself has lived for so many years that she's basically a fountain of historical knowledge. So it's just a fun series to read. Next, we've got Kageki Shoujo Volume 14. And let's see. Yeah, I think they're on their vacation in this volume, and basically Ai is coming to visit with Sarasa and finding out more about Sarasa's family. And then we also, let's see, I think Ai's visiting in this volume. We do also have a lot of character exploration on the underclassmen that Sarasa and I are starting to teach. And I don't know why I is blonde on this cover. I think she has black hair. No, that's not I think that's her underclassman. I'm not entirely sure. I don't think this is the volume where I comes to visit her family. I think Sarasa just goes back to visit her family after learning about her grandfather. I mean, of course, her grandfather is having issues. She also learns about a potential affair, so she's going to check on her family, that sort of thing. I'm flipping the book way too much. Love Kageki Shoujo, though. I would recommend it to most people. Next, we've got Imaginary Volume 3 by Niro Ikuhama? Akuhama? Ikuhana. Okay. Niro Ikuhana. We are continuing to develop one of the relationships in this volume. Imaginary kind of focuses on a lot of relationships, a lot of romantic relationships and friend relationships in these different circles. The beginning few volumes had a lot of focus on them imagining things and picturing things that are happening in their world, but it's kind of just turned into rom-drom sort of. I enjoy it somewhat. I've enjoyed it more as the series has gone on. I used to not be a fan of it, but it's grown on me a lot. Next up, we've got BL Game Rebirth, My New Life as the Hero's Younger Brother, with art by Kana, story by Yui Hanaka, and character design by, I actually cannot tell if that's Shue or Shive. It is a story about a girl who loves otome games, being reborn into a BL otome game as the hero's younger brother. Of course, it's an isekai, so I don't really need to explain the premise. I just need to read the title. And so far in this volume, it seems like she is basically getting all of the guys to fall for her unintentionally. And she's just trying to treat them nicely and trying to exist in the world and not get involved with any of these men. But yeah, I think that's the main stuff to talk about this volume. Then we've got At 2500 in Akasaka, Volume 4 by Hiroko Natsuno. Is it really just visiting a wedding and then visiting a hometown in this volume? This must have been another one I read earlier in the month because I don't remember too much information about this. Aside from them just, I guess it's pretty much just them going back to visit his hometown. Oh, I just flipped to a sex scene. I am glad that that flip was not on the camera. It's pretty damn censored anyway, so it wouldn't really have mattered. But yeah, I think that's pretty much the focus of this volume is going to a wedding, going to his hometown, or when I say him, I mean this character here. I'd never know names. I'm just gonna say this character or that character. I enjoy at 2500 in Akasaka though. Then we've got the goated Old Man Yaoi by Sono Michiru Koboku. Finally did read this, and it is very wordy, very specific about the office work that they do. A lot of very long lasting slow burn. I say long lasting because there's a lot of pages with a lot of dialogue. Very specific to the industry. That's a bit heavy to read, but I do really enjoy the relationship between the two. And I like how the sticker I got basically just perfectly encapsulate one just being like a dumb. He's actually smart, but just being pretty much a dumb boy, and the other one being super, super attached to him and super loving towards him. But it's a really good one off. I didn't really explain this premise. They're both what's the word for it? It's not social workers. They work for the government. Public servants. They're both public servants in the Ministry of Economy, Trade, and Industry. One of them being a boss, the other one being their subordinate. The subordinate is very, very attached to the boss, to the hip, and it's very cute. And I do really enjoy their relationship. And I very much hope that we are going to continue to get Michiru's series licensed over here. I did see that we got the digital version of their onsen story licensed, but I am a physical only person, so I'm not really planning on reading it unless we get it physically. Then next we've got Tepeki Honeymoon Volume 1 by Mega Tanaka through One Piece Books. We've got a very strong high schooler who somehow ends up becoming betrothed to or getting engaged to a wealthy. I say wealthy. He's the heir to the security company. And a lot of this so far is basically her kind of playing along with being roped into being his wife, uh, so that she's going to end up getting all the money. He's just needed to get a wife in order to continue being the rightful heir, I believe, is the case. I don't remember the specifics. I did really enjoy this volume. I liked her personality and how it played off of his. She's very headstrong, but also seems like she's not going to be afraid to really uh, connect to him emotionally over a period of time. It is an age gap, though she is 18. She is still in high school, so she's still a bit young for this sort of thing. It's not as bad as another series I've read by Tanaka, which was, I think, a middle schooler and a high schooler. But I really enjoyed Tanaka's writing, so I wanted to give this a shot, and I did enjoy this a lot so far. Next up, we've got another series from another acclaimed older man yaoi author, Mamita, with Haberdashery Genmokse. And this is the story about a man who inherits his grandfather's haberdashery and is trying desperately to run it and to keep it successful, make it more successful because that's in a very competitive area. And a man who comes into his life and offers to help him figure out how to get the shop working even better. And of course, it's Kuma, so there's going to be a relationship developing between the two of them. Uh, Mommy does a great artist, a great author, and I am gonna pick up anything they release over in English. Not to spoil what I'm getting from what I already got for next month, but I did just pick up Natsume Wants to Be Trained, which is another series by Mamita. I think it's 2 volumes. It's 1 volume and then a sequel, but I do really enjoy Mamita's work, not just because they focus on older men, but I think their writing's really good too. Next up, we've got Square Enix with Volume 3 of The Emperor's Caretaker. Oh yeah, that's right. There was an attempted attack on Soren. Oh yeah. There was an attempted attack on Soren, and there was a huge jump in the relationship from one side due to bad miscommunications. So one of the people has a very specific perception of the relationship that the other person has to them. So that is happening, and she, she's just going along with the ride, not really sure what's going on. She is still wanting to stay in this area and keep being the attendant slash babysitter of the prince. And of course, we are starting to see the potential relationship develop between her and I think an I don't remember what his role is. I don't think it specifically says. But yes, I do enjoy this. It is an Imperial Court drama, and that is a fun type of series to read. Next, we got Daemons of the Shadow Realm, Volume 8 by Hiromu Arakawa. Don't remember too much specifics about this volume. I guess we are kind of just continuing the story about attempted kidnapping, traitors in the midst, what the main characters are doing next. I don't really have much specific to say about this volume. I do still enjoy that series so far, though. Next, we've got Shadow's House, Volume 9. We've got a lot that we learn about everybody's backstories in this volume, about the not living, I think living dolls is the term for them, about the living doll's true origin. Without spoiling it, a lot of stuff happens in this volume, and it's a very good read. Great mystery so far. Then we got Licorice Recoil, Volume 3 by Yasunori Bizen and Spider Lily. Spider Lily. Should I say Spider Lily since it's Japanese? I don't know. Anyways, we've got a lot of exploration into Chisato's competitive side. In this volume, we're learning more about her aside from her just being like very bubbly, very friendly. We learn more about her skills, more about her personality. Because they both end up back at HQ because Takina is having to, I think, retake an exam that happens they have to take every once in a while. But love Licorice Recoil. I really love the anime, and this is a good manga adaptation so far. Next, we've got Honey Lemon Soda Volume 9 by Mayu Murata. We have some potential drama happening with a new character being introduced that is acting very similarly to how the main character acts, the main girl character. And we have some hints about maybe that's not who she really is, and maybe she's acting that way to get to the main male lead. Some drama happening in this volume, basically kind of testing their relationship and testing her perception of herself in the relationship. Good, though. I enjoyed it. Then we've got The Hitman Stands, Volume 1. This is a series. Oh, it's by Rentaro Oshima. This is a series about a hitman who retires because he wants to basically devote his life to being a stan for this specific idol, Kaorin. There's not too much specific about this aside from just the typical premise of the edgy Yakuza man being super in love with this idol and wanting to devote his life to her, that sort of thing. A lot of comedy comes from it, and it's a good read so far, but there's not too much deep I can say about it. Next, we finally got another volume of Tog Oni. This is volume 6. We are learning more about the gods and more about the ideas of what makes these gods gods and what makes these humans that are close to gods, because the girl ends up traveling with one of I think they're called immortals, something like that, and learning about the ideas going around in their heads. There's a lot of stuff happening in this volume, to be frank. It seems like a lot of things are just going on at once, as opposed to just like a continuous thread that we've split into these multiple threads of different people having different things going on. It's enjoyable, and I do really like it so far, though. Next, we've got The Three Body Problem, Volume 3. I think we have the main character kind of showing that this observation he's seeing that shouldn't technically be possible is happening to others, and others are able to observe it. But I don't remember specifics aside from that. We don't really go into the VR game in this volume. We're just talking about I think a lot of this volume is talking about the science of what's going on and him trying to convince other people that things are happening the way they are. I do really enjoy the series. I just don't really know how to synopsisize it properly. Next, we've got Not So Wicked Stepmom, Volume 6. 6? Yes, Volume 6. And I don't remember too much about what happens in this volume either. Hmm. Yes. I do think that we have more people learning about the magic mirror in this volume. Um, we do have more continuation of the family's general growth with each other, their understandings of each other and their relationships. We do have somebody else coming into their lives, a couple of people coming into their lives to try and affect them in different ways, some to try and take away her. Yeah, I enjoyed a lot. I just don't really know what to say about it. Next, we've got Coffee Moon Volume 6 by Muchito Bota. This is the final volume of the series. We've got to wrap up to everything that's happening in this volume, so I don't want to explain too much of it. The art is really pretty and very vibrant, as you can see here. But I do want to not really explain too much of it since it is the final volume. I did enjoy how it wrapped up, even if things kind of got very confusing after a while, because it started off one way and then just went a completely different direction. But I think it all kind of rolled together decently well in the end. And I would enjoy reading this series again and recommend others to read it. All right, next up we've got Short Game by Mitsuru Adachi. This is a Denpa release. It is a collection of short stories about high school students playing baseball and the relationships they form throughout it. I learned about the existence of Mitsuru Adachi through the one-shot Came the Mirror and Other Tales by Rumiko Takahashi, and I got interested in his works ever since then because I think they were close compatriots in the manga industry. And I was super looking forward to this. It's been delayed several times, but I do think it was a really nice read. Um, there were a lot. I think my only problem with it was we didn't get a lot of like introduction to each of the characters when we started the stories. It was very much we just jumped straight in and you have to learn about the characters as you go along. But all of the stories were good and I enjoyed the read overall. And I'm makes me look forward more to reading Cross Game, which is the only book series I have of his and the only one I think that's been published in English. I might be wrong on that. But anyways, it was a really good read and it was worth the wait. And then we've got another volume one I've been really looking forward to getting, and this is Senpai is an Otoko Noko, My Cross-Dressing Classmate by Palm. This is volume 1 through Kodansha. This is a series about a boy who cross-dresses as a girl in his high school and a girl who ends up developing a crush on him. I'm going to use he, him pronouns uh, because he doesn't, at this point in the story, he doesn't identify as a girl. He identifies as a boy that just likes to be feminine and dress like a girl. Regardless, she falls for him and goes to confess to him, and he reveals that he's actually a man. And that makes her even more interested in him. So that's the story is about him, and his close childhood friend who's trying to keep him protected and keep him safe from people who have been mean to him at his school. And it's a very fun comedy with like some really sad drama moments in it. I really did enjoy the anime, and I'm looking forward to reading the whole series now. Next, we've got Rent a Girlfriend, Volume 31. I believe in this volume, we're continuing more stuff with the shared house situation. Let's see. Well, we did actually finally get Sumi back in the story after 600 chapters without her, but it was a very brief time she was in the story. Okay, good. I just want to make sure that didn't show up on screen because that was uncensored chest, and that probably wouldn't be good to put on my YouTube video. Um, yeah, not too much specific happens in this volume. It's just about him trying to get Chizuru to feel closer to him, and the girl who calls him master because kind of like a sensei student sort of thing. It's weird. She's kind of weird. Is trying to help facilitate the relationship to get closer. But yeah, I enjoy Rent a Girlfriend. And it seems like there has been a lot of like huge drama since the Hawaiians resort. Anyways, next up is volume 10 of Nina the Starry Bride by Rikachi. This volume we have Nina trying to escape, Nina finally escaping Galgada and returning back to her homeland and trying to still help. I don't remember his name, but the evil prince regain himself because he lost himself very heavily in the previous couple volumes. He retreated into a shell of what he used to be when he was a kid. And we've got her jumping right back into Fortuna, back to Fortuna and dealing with the interpersonal relationships and the changes in the kingdom that have happened since then. Still do enjoy Nina the Starry Bride. Next up, we've got My Noisy Roommate, The Roof Over My Head Comes with Monsters and a Hottie, Volume 3 by Kaho Wazaki. Let's see, in this volume... Yeah, so we get some introduction to the main character's very overprotective siblings, and through this, we get to see how the others at the company view him and how his relationship with the other male lead is developing so far. Nothing's really romantic has developed between them so far. I imagine it's going to, but I don't know. I enjoy it, though. Next up, we've got Medalist Volume 9 by Suru Maikada. There was a lot happening in this volume. It was the ending of the skating tournament that they were involved in, the All Japan Novice Championship. And yeah, I don't want to spoil what happens in this volume. A lot of emotional things. Of course, the big climax to the ice skating championship. Really good series, and I would definitely recommend it to sports fans. It's a very good coming of age story. Next, we've got my favorite shoujo josei, I think it's shoujo series, In the Clear Moonlit Dusk, Volume 8 by Mika Yamamori. We got School Festival going on in this volume. We've got... I think they had a big confession going on out in public. Yes, and their relationship is starting to deepen further. She's starting to be okay with being more public with him. And we also focus on one of her friends who has developed feelings for one of his friends and trying to see how that ends up going through. Not a lot of details I remember about this series, but I love the art, I love the characters, the writing's good, and it just scratches an itch within me for some reason. Next up, we've got Gachi Akuda, Volume 7. We've got a heavy backstory this volume. You can kind of see it in the darker colored pages here at the end. And we've got the conclusion, I think, to some of the fights that are happening between the raiders and the cleaners. And potentially something leading up to the next volume. We also have to wait to find out the fate of one of the characters, which is intense, and I'm looking forward to finding out what that is. I don't remember when the next volume's coming out, possibly soon. But lastly, we've got the Dashing Zaddy and his Icy Protege, Volume 2 by Fumito through Kodansha. And in this volume, what happened? Oh, yeah, the nude, them both going to a bathhouse and seeing each other naked and having thoughts about that. Just continuing building their relationship with humor. Also, them going to trying to the IC Protege is going to this place to try and help with some jobs that the company needs help with. So they're going there he's going there with a person who apparently sent a report to HR that he was harassing him because the protege by his name, is icy. He's very cold, and it came off the wrong way to the other guy. He got the wrong impression about him. So they're trying to fix they need to like mend their relationship with each other, and both of them need to come to terms with what happened and figure out a good way to go forward. That's kind of the focus of this. The bathhouse thing is just like a fun little extra and some growth between the two main characters and their relationship. But with that in mind, that is everything I read this month, and I will talk to everyone next month for my haul. So, y'all have a safe one.